We've made the picks, we've analyzed the bets, and we have finalized our best bets for UFC Saudi Arabia. Let me tell you, this card I think is really tough betting-wise. But even though I don't think this is the best card to be throwing a bunch of dough on, I think it's very volatile. Even in those circumstances, we can find the best bets to give out to you guys. I've looked at every single bet I got on this card, and I'm going to put out the money line, the round prop, the parlay, and a prop bet for you guys because it's free game. This isn't every single bet I got on the card, but it is the best bets that I chose. So UFC Saudi Arabia, main event, Whittaker versus Aliskerov. Let's get into it. But before we do, let's look at the best bets record. We were on a nice little track. This is the fourth week of the best bets show. So we were 2-0, profitable. And then last week, we got crushed. We got crushed, not as bad as the entire card, but, we got crushed a little bit. We're down. We can get it back here, and I'm feeling pretty good about the bets I'm about to give you. First bet, we're going with the money line. Nasrat hack press. It is a little bit chalky, minus 220, but to be honest, I don't really trust many favorites on this card, but I trust Nasrat hack press to get it done here. Minus 220 seems a little bit accurate. I think you could probably play him up to like minus 250, minus 260. It just comes down to one thing, and I love Jared Gordon, but Jared Gordon just really hasn't beaten anybody good in the UFC. Like, you look at his wins in the UFC, they're not good guys. They're guys that have either been cut or you just wouldn't even know who they were back in the day. I mean, Jared Gordon is an ex-featherweight, so he's a little bit smaller. Nasrat Haqparast, he's always had some talent. He's the younger guy. He's going to have a massive durability edge, I believe, in this one because Jared Gordon has always had somewhat of a suspect chin. If it comes down to it, I think Jared Gordon's probably going to have to work in some cage control, try to slow down this fight because on the feet, Nasrat's just going to be too fast for him with the hands. He's going to be throwing more in combination. And overall, I just think he's got every path to win this one. On the ground, I don't think Jared Gordon's going to be able to outwork him on the ground to the point where he could submit him, nor is he going to be able to do a bunch of damage on the ground. And I don't even know if Jared Gordon's going to be able to land takedowns at will. So on the feet, I think Nasrat wins this fight. And at minus 220, I'm willing to lay the chalk. I got 2.2 units on it, so you're going to win a unit back. It is chalk, but I think it's a safe play here on the money line. Minus 220, Nasrat Haqparast, sign me up. From there, we move on to the Underdog Fantasy. And last week, let me tell you, we absolutely crushed it again. This is our second sweep in the last 3 weeks. We swept the board on Underdog Fantasy last week at UFC Vegas 93, and we also swept the board on UFC 302, which was the Poirier-Makhachev card. So we're crushing this app. So if you live in one of these yellow states, I highly suggest you download the Underdog Fantasy app, use the code HeyJive to get some free money on your deposit bonus, and start playing these because this is free game, and we've been crushing it. Sometimes we're not the best with the straight bets and parlays like last week, but if you only played this, you were absolutely cooking. So this week, this is what I got. I got 3 players out there. I haven't put in the 5-legger as I showed on the last slide here. This is the 5-legger for $100 to pay $2,000. We hit that. I haven't put the 5-legger in yet for this week, so stay tuned for that. You can join my free Telegram. I'll post it in there. I'll show that to you at the end of this video where you can join that. But here we got 3 plays. They're all $100 to win $300. Daniel Rodriguez over on significant strikes, I think, is the freest prop of the card because this fight's probably going to go the distance, and D-Rod throws a ton of volume. 56.5 is just super low. I think he should soar over that. And then we got Gafurov. Gafurov's going to be shooting a bunch of takedowns. These right here, this is in the rivals section. So we're taking Jared Gordon plus 10.5 significant strikes. And what that means is they take the significant strike totals, they add 10.5 to Jared Gordon's total, and if he outlands Nasrat with that added 10.5, then we win. And if you look at Jared Gordon's track record, he's covered that in every single one of his fights except for one. And I think he's had over 10 UFC fights. So we're getting a great line there. And even if he loses, he could get knocked out. He still just has to cover the 10.5, which he's done at an alarming rate. So we had to play that there. Chang Ho Lee, the road to the UFC fight there. And then I think Gaziazilov is just going to wrestle this guy, and I don't think he's going to be an early finish. So I like the over on fight time there, and I'm taking Whittaker less on significant strikes because I think this fight probably ends early. I don't think Whittaker's going to have a chance to even sniff going over that. So those are the underdog plays. Once again, code HeyJive gets you a deposit bonus. Move on to the round prop. We're going with the over 2.5 in the Muhammad Naimov Felipe Lima fight, sitting at -110. I got 2.2 units on that to win back 2 units. I think these guys are both super tough. Neither fighter has been finished, which is kind of a lie because technically Felipe Lima has been finished. He got subbed in his first ever professional fight, which was like 9 years ago. So I don't really count that. These guys are both wrestlers at their base. Naimov packs a little bit of a punch, but I think Lima's an absolute dog. The only real worry here that I see for a finish would be some type of submission, but I'm going to trust that both these guys are not going to get subbed. I think Lima is a stud on the ground, and Naimov really wins fights because he's tough, and he's durable, and he's strong, and he's going to have a size advantage in this one. So I stayed away from the money lines on this fight. I just went with the over 2.5 because I respect both guys, and I think this is going to be a fight where there's a lot of cage control. There's a lot of takedowns. It's going to be a fight that I don't see there's a ton of violence in. So I like the over 2.5. And if we do look at their professional records, 11 of their 26 fights went to a decision, and most of that is before the UFC. This is Lima's debut. He's been to like 6 decisions on the regional scene, so he's not a pure finisher. Naimov, I don't think he's a pure finisher either. I think a lot of this line is cooked into the 2 finishes that Naimov has had in the UFC. One of them was an injury, can't even count that, and the other one was Jamie Malarkey getting chinned, which happens nearly every fight. So I think that's why we're getting a good price here, and I like the over. Homofied Picks. This is where you can get every single one of my UFC bets, my PFL bets, my Bellator bets, all in one spot in the Homofied Picks premium membership. So this weekend, we got UFC Saudi Arabia. Tomorrow, we got PFL 5 tonight, which I have a bunch of plays on. We got Bellator tomorrow as well. And then next week, we got PFL again, and then we got UFC 303. So you can sign up for just a week. You could just sign up for a week. You'll get $5 off, bring you down to $14.99, something like that. Less than $15. And you're going to get all this for a week. PFL, we cook in PFL, and pay-per-views, we absolutely cook. And Bellator, I think I got 3 or 4 plays on there that I feel good about as well. So sign up to there. We're positive 18, over 18 units year to date. So sign up there. Link is down in the description. That's where you can get every single one of my bets. To the parlay, we're going with a fight to go to decision parlay. Now, this is a card that I really don't think there's going to be a lot of parlays cashing, because usually when you put a parlay in, you're taking 2 favorites, 3 favorites, and those are the ones you like. Now, I said at the top of the show, I don't really like a lot of favorites. So this is the only parlay I got. I'm going with the fight to go to a decision parlay here with Fakhretdinov versus Dalby. Both guys have never been finished. Fakhretdinov nor Dalby have ever been finished. And I'm pairing that up with Rodriguez and Gastelum. Now, D-Rod's been finished his last 2 fights. But one of those was Ian Machado Gary, a head kick. The other one was Neil Magny just pushing the absolute shit out of the pace and subbing him in round 3. So that does scare me a little bit for the D-Rod side, but I just really have no confidence in Kelvin Gastelum getting a finish here. The guy hasn't had a finish since 2017 against Bisping. And Kelvin Gastelum never been knocked out. He's been submitted, but I don't think D-Rod's got some type of crazy jiu-jitsu to get him out of there via submission. He's got a brick head. I think this fight probably goes to a decision. So those 2 paired together, plus 132, and we're putting 1 unit on there. Moves us to the Betr Picks lineup last week. We hit 2, and this is another app that we just been absolutely cooking. This is another daily fantasy app. All the purple states on the map right there are eligible to play. And once again, you'll get a deposit bonus up to $250 using my code HeyJive. We're cooking, Matt. We cook the DFS apps. So please do yourself a favor, download the app, use the code HeyJive for your deposit bonus, and use some of that free money on these plays. We got 3 2-leggers out, and then, of course, we always got to put the 8-legger in. We're going for $50 to win $10K on this boosted play. Why? Because I look at it, and I'm like, I think this hits. Let's look at the 2-leggers here. Gazzyazlov, takedowns. I think he wrestles him. I don't think he wants to stand and trade with Ribeiro, and rightfully so, because Ribeiro's got pretty big power. Again, D-Rod over on strikes. I think that's so free. I'm going with Volkov over on significant strikes, mainly because I think this fight actually goes a little bit longer. Volkov, his fights in the UFC have only been finished 3 times in the first round, and I think he's got like 15 plus UFC fights. So usually his fights tend to go a little bit later. I know he's facing Pavlovich, but Pavlovich, he's a marauder, man. He's a guy that'll just walk you down, but I don't know. Volkov is just a guy that's so tough to get out of there. So I think he could rack up 21 significant strikes within the first round. Then it goes to round 2, and we just need a little bit of a buffer, and we're good. Gastelum over on strikes, kind of the same thing here. I think the fight goes to decision, and D-Rod does get hit a good amount as well. And then a little fight time play here. Volkov, Naimov, overs. Pretty much explain those. And then this one, 50 to win $10K. That's pretty much all the picks that we got across the board. Thrown in there with an Uzumir KO. I think that's super live, and that's a boosted play. So I like it, man. I like it. Move on to the prop bet. We got Kyung Ho Kang by submission at plus 650 odds. I think that's insane value. We're only putting 0.2 units on it because it's plus 650, and you can't really go crazy on a plus 650 prop. But I think it's super live, man. When Gafurov just spams takedowns over and over and over again, he's wild. He does tend to fade as the fight goes on. And if you look at Kyung Ho Kang, he's never lost 2 in a row. He's coming off a loss. And historically in his career, after he has a loss, he comes back and wins by submission. Gafurov just got subbed by Said Nurmagomedov for shooting sloppy takedowns, got a little front choke. I don't know that he's going to be able to come into this one and really switch up his game plan, because that's his game. His game is to pressure you and just shoot takedown over takedown over takedown. And Kyung Ho Kang has a bunch of submissions on his record. He's got real legit jiu-jitsu, so it doesn't even need to be a front choke. It could be a failed takedown, he takes the back, rear naked choke. It could be Gafurov, gas later in the fight, arm triangle. It could be anything. It could be Gafurov takes him down and he throws up a triangle choke. It could be a lot. I think there's so many possibilities here for Kyung Ho Kang to get a sub, and at plus 650, it makes perfect sense to throw 0.2 units on it. So there's your prop bet. And lastly, I'll ask you to join the free Telegram channel. As I alluded to earlier, haven't put the 5-leg parlay yet in on Underdog Fantasy. I will post that here in my Telegram channel. It is free. The link will be down in the description. And last week, this is where I post all the DFS plays. So if you can't see them here on the video, or I haven't put them all out, this is where you're going to get them. And last week, we went up over $2,500 in profit on these daily fantasy plays. So join that. In addition to that, we'll also post the IG Live parlays in there. And today, I posted a PFL parlay absolutely for free. It's a 3-legger in the free Telegram channel. So join up there. Other than that, good luck to y'all. Appreciate y'all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Good luck to your bets. Till next time, Hey Job Picks. We out.